Hello and welcome to Straight Dude Date Night, a show where two straight dudes go on a date and they review it. My name is David Stallings and I am one of the straight dudes.
And I'm Ricky Rivera, the other straight dude.
This week, not quite that situation of actually going out together, but we did it. We still did something.
We did something.
We told each other about what we were going to do and then did it on our own, which was a lot harder than I thought it would be. It was hard to get me to watch the show on my own.
Yeah, I definitely tried it like 3 different times and failed each time because I was at home.
I didn't realize I love like going to the movies or when we have streamed stuff. I love doing stuff with you. I realized this week it made me realize it is hard for me to do this without you. You are getting to hang out with my best friend is a driving force for why I do this show.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's probably honestly why I struggled so much too, because I literally could not watch the show.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, which is everyone, we watched the Continental this week, and we are huge John Wick fans, which that's the world it's in. And I did realize I struggled so hard to watch the show, even though I was interested in the world and wanted to watch it. Didn't have my buddy. I'm like, I'm gonna go watch TV on my own.
No buddy, no popcorn, just
snacks, no nothing. It was
disgusting.
I would have rather tried to schedule a 5-hour movie, put the entire thing in a theater, and it's like, all right, Saturday's a 5-hour film day. You ready?
Yeah, I would have been down. I mean, that'd be fun. To be honest, we've done it before.
For a 5 hour?
No, I mean, we did. No, we didn't do that in the same day. Never mind. I was thinking of Barbenheimer.
That was close. We did not do it in the same day. We were not dedicated like everyone else.
Yeah, I missed you, bro. It was hard being at home doing it.
It was a rough week.
Obviously, you know me. I was watching it on my phone.
I can't believe you do this.
The worst part about it, I'm not going to give it away too much because I don't want to get in trouble. But the way I had to watch it, it was on let's just say it was in a browser. Okay? I'll give you that.
Yep.
All right. That sucked because it didn't save where I watched.
Oh,
so
boy.
I had to go and find it. And, you got to close out all the ads.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing.
So my dilemma this week was the show was on Peacock.
For those who know, you know.
You know.
You know what I'm talking about. Ahoy, matey.
This show was on Peacock, and for some reason, on my computer, it will not let me sign into Peacock. It's not an account error or anything. I confirmed it. It won't let me sign in on my computer at all. So, and for streaming stuff, that is always what I do, is I put it on my computer and I'll be working or doing whatever. And on one monitor is the show, the other monitor is anything else. And because I'm apparently a Gen Z ADHD person, I've learned, as the internet told me once. But because I couldn't do that, it was even more of a difficulty to be like, all right, I gotta go downstairs to go watch the show now. Yeah, this was a painful week.
Yeah, that's weird. I wonder why I wouldn't let you log in.
It's bizarre. I hate Peacock.
I have a Peacock account. I don't even.
Oh, you're outing yourself more, bud.
I mean, I have a Peacock account.
Yeah, you borrowed one. Yeah,
I have a Peacock account.
Of course, yeah.
Peacock is great.
Of course, we're proud. We used it this week.
What an L platform to drop that movie or that show on. That to me showed lack of confidence in it.
To do streaming.
I mean, it's probably rights. There's probably a rights thing. That's why it's on Peacock.
Well, it's owned by them.
NBC, right?
I thought so. Yeah, I thought it was owned by them.
No, it's definitely it. But like, who has Peacock?
Well,
obviously I have.
Yeah,
it,
we have it. Yeah, we have it. Yeah.
But like, there's better platforms.
Yeah. Well, let me jump into a quick synopsis of the show before we.
Amazon Prime would have thrown $1 billion at you, guaranteed.
Yeah, and the show's not worth $1 billion. Let me go into a quick synopsis of this show before we continue. Again, I'm going to spoil everything if you care about this show, which you shouldn't. Honestly, you should go watch it beforehand. So there you go. The Continental. Have you seen John Wick? It's all about that. It's all about the cool hotel where you can't all these assassins can't kill each other at the hotel. Bunch of rules and honor that you got to go by. How did Winston own the hotel? That is this story.
That's the one question you ask yourselves when watching these movies. If I could get any backstory, it'd be how did Winston?
How did Winston Scott? How did he get ownership of this awesome place? How did that happen?
That's the one thing I wanted to know from the John Wick series.
And they gave it to us. Kind of weird. Winston is a businessman in London who has abandoned his brother back in New York. They both used to be involved with a gang leader who currently owns the Continental in New York named Cormac. His brother Frankie ends up stealing an extremely valuable coin press amongst the basically assassin currency that it makes it.
Yeah, if you've seen John Wick,
you know.
You know what the coin press is there for.
Steals the coin press, causing a huge manhunt to pursue Frankie. Winston is brought into this with Cormac believing that Winston would know where Frankie is or where he's hiding the coin press. Frankie is killed during all of this as him and Winston reunite for the first time in 20 years. Winston becomes, because of that, becomes devoted to, now I'm going to kill Cormac and I'm going to steal his hotel. And from there, that's basically the story. That's it. Bunch of other people involved in it who try to help him. It's basically a big heist is what's going on to try and kill Cormac and then take ownership of the hotel by proxy. Yeah, I think that's it.
They just did what they did in, was it John Wick 3 when the hotel becomes free range?
Yes.
They just did that again, but in the prequel.
Yeah, they had it set up. I thought this was interesting to justify a different system that the previous owner had, where they had the red light system, which they don't have in the John Wick movies.
Yeah, it's totally different.
The red light system, yeah, it's a moment where if the red lights are on, then people are allowed to kill each other on Continental ground. And it's very clear that they brought that up, and I'm like, that's not in John Wick. Yeah, Winston must get rid of that.
Yeah, he must have, or either the Round Table cracked down on that, because don't they have to call somebody to get permission, and the Round Table has to grant it, or the High Table?
In the Continental?
Yeah, because
he can. In the last episode, Cormac just goes for the button.
No, I mean in the John Wick movies.
Oh,
in the movies, current time, you have to get permission now from the High Table.
Yeah, because the High Table currently, they have a setup where they can get rid of the sanctuary system for the Continental. They can eliminate that, and that's where it became in John Wick 3. Then they started all killing each other. That's what happens there. So that was like a way more intense situation with it. Yeah. So that was cool, but bro, I was so hyped for this show, dude. I was so hyped.
I was excited for the show too until I didn't see any marketing for it.
Yeah.
And then the show had been out for 3 weeks and finished.
And you didn't hear a word about it.
Anything about it, like no hype. Because I follow a lot of like review channels or even, I'm on Twitter all the time and that kind of stuff, obviously it's in my feed when I see the trending. I've not heard anything from this show.
Yeah, I forgot that it came out until you mentioned it. And we're like, we could watch this week.
Yeah, it's kind of bumming me out because the one I'm really excited for is the next, is it movie, Ballerina?
Yes, I think it's a movie.
That gets, I'm excited for that, but now I'm nervous for that because of how much I didn't really like the show.
It depends now, because what I think the issue with this show is that it was way more lore than the John Wick world really needs. Like, we both said it, that we wanted to answer the question, how does Winston get the hotel? We want that. Not over 5 hours. I don't think a limited series was the best option for this.
A limited series could have worked. They just were trying to add way too many new characters to the show when we already had so much in the worlds that we could have just worked around.
Yeah, it was kind of bizarre to me to write in so many, like, not necessarily new people. You needed to have new people because it was a different age compared to modern. Yeah. The modern times of John Wick. You needed new people, but they needed to be associated with something known. That would have been way cooler. If the person from the Bowery that we did meet, if she was actually more involved, that's cooler to learn more about the Bowery while also learning about the Continental.
Yes,
right?
I agree. Yeah, I would have liked to learn more about the Bowery at the same time.
Or have something involved in the series where Winston actually has to work with the high table and make a deal with them potentially of, I'll give the press back. You got to let me kill. I'll give you the press back, but I'm going to kill Cormac and I get ownership of the hotel. And now it's like, that's how he got it, is that there was a deal made, which makes sense. That's where I thought we were going with it.
Yeah. Yeah. The show writers had talked about how the show felt like it was way too long to be a movie, but too short for a show. So they kind of settled on this weird layout of 1.5 hour episodes, you know?
Yeah.
3 1/2 episodes, which is 3 movies.
Yep. Three whole movies.
That's movies, first off. That's movies 10 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah, they just were worried about it being too long or too short. I personally think that they could have just made this into a movie.
Yeah.
And cut out a lot of filler.
We had so much filler in this show, bro.
I mean, there was a lot we could have cut out. You know, first things that come to mind is the entire karate dojo backstory and storyline.
Yeah.
We didn't really need it because it doesn't really pertain to what's going on.
Yeah.
Just for it to get blown up.
Yeah, it gets blown up. There's the Chinese mafia that's also trying to kill the people who own the dojo for some reason. And none of these people are players in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. They do not matter in regards to the Continental story. And it didn't make any sense for us to focus so heavily on them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're really the 3 big storylines you get is Winston. I'm thinking Lance Reddick's character. What's his name? Something with a Ch.
Wait.
I know he's not
Sharon.
actually in the show. Sharon, yes.
Sharon, yes.
Sorry, I blanked. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. We love Sharon.
I blanked on Sharon's name, but it's Winston, Sharon, and kind of the Bowery. That's like the 3 storylines you're really getting in this that pertain to the movies.
Those are the storylines we wanted more of.
Yeah.
From the lore that we already know.
Yeah, and for a show that is about, you know, Winston coming to own the Continental and showing those 2 characters, I feel like I got more backstory on other people than I did those 2.
Yes.
At times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Winston, we learned a lot about his backstory, but they based it through his brother.
Yes.
Which I thought was strange because he dies in episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other 2 episodes are them still focusing on Frankie's backstory. And it's like, no, I don't care anymore about Frankie.
I was so hyped, though, when Sharon did show up.
Yes.
Because it didn't even process to me that Sharon might be in the show.
Yeah, and then
I'm like, this is the best guy.
I know, and I love. They're like, he's a teenager. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
he's a teenager. Just let him be.
Yeah,
he's here.
Yeah, he's just here. We love it.
Yeah,
and then to learn about I wanted to learn so much more about him and have him and Winston become like a duo and everything. Oh my gosh.
Which they do. I mean, they do give that to you, but it's not to like the last like 30 minutes of this 5-hour adventure.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The first 2 episodes, truthfully, you could skip. And the 3rd episode you could just watch from there, and
That's
you'd
such
be
a
slightly
shame.
confused, but it'd still be good.
That's such a shame. The first 2 episodes were so garbage. The entirety of them, other than like, he has a brother named Frankie, and then he stole the coin press, and now everyone's mad. Proceed to episode 3, where when Frankie had died, and now Winston's trying to take the hotel. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, and some really weird editing and music in the first 2 episodes as well.
Did you notice the music was kind of odd?
It was odd.
Yeah.
They used a lot of Mimi songs.
Yeah. Well, bro,
like the meme, the one with the bass, the doom 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 doom. Mm-hmm. That's the "We'll Be Right Back" one. Or
yes. Yes. The weirdest one to me was episode 3. Because episode 3 felt the most like John Wick, like the normal world we've come to know, and also it had the same comedic vibe as John Wick 3, where some of the acting and some of what was going on is comical in this insane fight.
Yeah, and in the 3rd episode you're talking about.
Yes, right? Specifically the 3rd one.
Yeah,
but I think my favorite part was the red light that we talked about gets hit, and I don't know what is wrong with these assassins, but as soon as they get permission that they can kill people in the hotel, everyone comes out and is like, yeah, finally, I've been waiting to murder everyone.
I've been waiting to unleash. That's what they were saying. They're saying there's evil people and there's puppets.
Yes, but as they're coming out and they're showing this on every floor, all of these people coming out of their rooms. They're playing this very weird, like, Pac-Man song. Like, it was like this robotic song that they were playing over it. And I remember I was watching it today and was like, what? Why is that? Why is that what we chose here?
I don't even remember the song.
Bro, I can't. I had never heard this song before. The only thing I can relate it to is it sounded like when Pac-Man in the original arcade game is eating the pellets of the like something like that. It was bizarre. It was a very strange choice to me with the music.
Music was definitely strange at times. It was kind of out of place in certain points.
Yeah.
Yeah, the show just sometimes it's just weird. It's just a really weird vibe. Like you're like trying to get through it, and eventually you're like, oh yeah, okay, I forgot this was a John Wick thing.
Yep.
Doesn't feel like it.
Well, I think the weirdest thing to me was that our main character, like, it's hard because the John Wick world is action, and so that's what we are expecting with it. Right. And I think they were leaning more into the vibe of Winston is not an action person. He never was. He does some stuff, but even in John Wick 3, he's during the big battle at the Continental, he's in the vault, and he's just talking. He's on the phone with someone. He doesn't do anything. The only thing he does is he shoots John Wick at the end, sends him off the hotel. He is very, at the last minute, he will take action like that.
Yeah, he never uses a gun.
So then the entire show, I think they tried to center around that he's a talker, he's a planner. He just gets the thing done. But when it comes to action, it felt very bizarre that he never did anything.
No.
Every fight he gets punched in the face and then is on the floor the rest of the scene, while the other new characters who got introduced have to do all the fighting.
Yeah, no, he was never a fighter. He just was the guy that just talked. He just was hanging.
So I think that contributed to why this felt so odd, was that it's in the John Wick world, but we were investigating a character who is just not an assassin.
Yeah.
Even though everyone in the world apparently is an assassin in that universe.
Yeah, which is why we had to bring in, new faces and whatnot to help with that aspect of it. You kind of killed off the most exciting assassin very quick.
Yes.
His brother, Frank. I was so pumped to see him. They hyped him up so much in the first episode.
We needed more of Frankie, I think.
I agree with you, because they were just like, oh, Frankie, like, you're not going to find him unless he wants to be found. He's insane with the guns and the weapons he uses.
And then
he's a master.
And then we found him, and he's a mountain of a man. He was huge.
Dude, and they even opened the show with him. You're like, dude, he goes hard. He steals the coin press from the round table. That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, we know how hard it is to do anything against the round table. They show that in the John Wick movies. It's hard.
Yeah.
And he does it, and you're like, yeah. Okay. It's kind of boring outside of the action, but I'm excited to see Frankie ball out. And then Frankie just offs himself. He's like, you know what? Stay safe out there.
His death was so disappointing. They literally were getting away. They were about to escape, and he's like, nah, they want me. And then he kills himself. Why? You didn't have to. You guys were actually safe. I know you got shot. You're going to be fine.
Yeah, I think the solution to make the show into movie is maybe rewrite it out that's always been their goal, is to get revenge on Cormac.
Yeah.
And the brothers have been around together this whole time. And then Winston's side motive was that he wants to run the Continental, and that was never Frankie's motive. His motive is to like just get out of it. Yeah. That would have been an interesting storyline to me. Of then they're like, oh, we're just gonna take him out. Yeah. We take him out. And then Frankie's like, yeah, and then we run. We just leave. Yep. And then Winston's like, well, actually, that could have been an interesting movie.
I think that could have been awesome, because then there's a dilemma at the end of do we see Winston becomes cold, and like, what does he do about his brother who's just trying to run off?
Yeah, or maybe he dies in the big fight. Yeah. Making the stakes a little bit higher, because nobody dies except for
Lemmy who was the comedic character.
Yeah, but Lemmy really wasn't even a character.
He really wasn't.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't know Lemmy was in the entire show.
He
was in all 3 episodes, and I didn't know it.
He was one of the only new characters we never got a backstory on, and every time he spoke was a funny quip. And that's it.
That's it.
And then they killed him. That was the only one they killed. One guy got stabbed in the heart with a pool cue and survived. And but Lemmy couldn't. They couldn't let the funny man live.
That was the only innovative fight moment as well. Was introduced with Lemmy when he started sending bombs up through
through the mail. That was
probably the only innovative kill scenes that they've added into the show that hasn't been done before in John Wick.
Yeah.
And that was cool.
Now
they send a grenade back to him.
Yeah. To be fair, like, because a huge part of why I love John Wick is that every movie is innovative. It's action, but there's something new with it each time that they're focusing on. And so that the action in this, it felt like I've seen it all before in the John Wick world. So to be fair about that, that's a hard bar to keep pushing, I feel like. The best thing, I think one of the best action scenes that I enjoyed was a fight that two characters had in a telephone booth. Like super close quarters. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah.
And the girl like grabs the telephone wire and tries to wrap it around his neck. He lifts her up and throws her into the ceiling of it. That was probably my favorite action scene of the whole show because that was different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Everything else was kind of just felt like we'd already seen before.
Yeah.
And that's okay to do in a TV show. I don't think they needed to fully up themselves.
Yeah.
Because how do you up John Wick 4?
That's really hard, yeah.
It's pretty hard to do. But it did feel... you don't have to up it, and I don't even necessarily think you have to fully match in a TV show, especially with, I'm sure, the budget being nowhere near.
I mean, it's still a John Wick IP.
It didn't feel like it was up to the standard it should have been.
That is true.
Because with John Wick, like, sure, there's some story moments, but I feel like 70% of the movie, or 80%, I'd probably say 80% of the movies are just action.
Yeah.
The show is like on the shorter end of maybe 30% of the show, entire show.
Yeah.
Is action. And I think that's where the issue came in for me.
Yeah. You go in thinking that it was going to be one thing, and then it's not bad to, like, it feels weird knocking it on, like, story, on trying to go into story, because we've complained about that before. But it's a different world.
Yeah.
It's a different setting, it's a different world, and I feel like they just focused in the wrong areas.
It's like when a boy band breaks up, and that one guy, like the least popular one, is the one that starts doing their solo project first, and you're just like, but it only kind of works all together. Yeah. That's what the show feels like. You just felt like it was a side off, one thing that they wanted to break away from. Yeah. It didn't really work. They focused really heavy on the story, and that's not what John Wick is known for, is their story. Yeah. Nobody's like, dude, the action's good, but the story in John Wick, insane.
Well, they have, like, I love the ambiguity of these movies where there are so many questions being asked at the end. As we learn more and more about the high table very slowly, I have so many more questions at the end of each film.
Yeah. Yeah, and the story, they're building to it to make it very interesting. But the writer, I think the only person that did the Continental from John Wick is the writer. I think is the only person that's involved with this. There may have been obviously here and there, probably producer or director hand in it, but in the official IMDb credits, the writer's the only one credited. Yeah. So it kind of seems like he wanted to flex his storytelling muscles a little bit more without the entire crew. That's what it is. He's the boy band.
He might be.
He's the guy. That actually now it kind of comes back around. The least popular part of the whole John Wick process is probably the writer, because anybody can write. Not anybody.
Not anyone.
That's disrespectful. Sorry.
That's disrespectful.
But when I think of what makes the John Wick movie so great, I think of the cinematography, the action coordination, the director, the style they do it, and then writing.
The story of the movie.
The boy band broke off. Went to go write a show. And it just didn't work without the other four. That's what it is.
The writing is the last, like, whatever the story was is the last thing that I think of. Like, the only thing when I think of John Wick 4 now, there are two scenes that I think of, and it's one of the greatest scenes in any movie I've seen recently of the overhead
top down, just
that 5-minute fight scene all through a mansion. Most insane.
It's the Hotline Miami scene.
Yes, most insane scene I've ever seen.
Yep.
And then the fight in the streets at the Arc de Triomphe where there's just cars going the entire
insane.
The most
The big
ridiculous scene. My gosh. Yeah, you think about all this other stuff before you're like, oh yeah, why was he in the street? Why was he in the house? I don't know. That's not why I'm here.
You don't care much. I mean, the story is good in John Wick, and I think that's just a plus.
Mm-hmm.
Because it didn't need it. I mean, the first movie, I'll be honest, I'll say it. The first movie storyline is nothing. There is no story.
I hate that opinion from you. I hate that opinion.
The first movie's story is bland, but it's fine because the action makes up for it.
I hate
that
story. Bro, the first one's story is so heartbreaking. What are you talking about?
Obviously, it's a dog. They kill the dog. That's heartbreaking.
His wife is dead.
But that's not important. He doesn't care about the wife. He made a vow to his wife that he'll never go killing again, and then immediately breaks it.
No.
Obviously, he cares more about this dog than the wife.
Bro, you're telling me if your wife passed away and then after she died, or like as she was about to die, she planned for a puppy to be sent to you with a heartfelt note saying, "This is the last bit of me. You couldn't be left alone." And then someone broke into your house and killed that dog. You wouldn't go insane?
I would go insane. But if I promised my wife that I'll never kill again, I would stick to my word to my wife.
I don't believe you.
And then I'd be pissed that she got me a dog because she just gave me more chores.
You are a liar.
She just gave me more work to do from the grave, bro.
You are
so hurt.
You are 100% a liar. You are doing a bit that's not at all.
I would appreciate the dog, but like now I gotta take care of this freaking dog. My wife just died. I don't want to take care of a dog right now.
Oh my gosh.
I'm an emotional wreck.
Okay, yeah, you're an emotional wreck. Yeah, I can't handle the dog.
You get out of the other 3 movies though. The story progressively gets more interesting because you learn more about the Round Table. Mm-hmm. The first movie is a basic story. It's just my wife is dead. Mm-hmm. I got this dog. They killed my dog.
It's a revenge story.
Revenge.
That's all it is.
It's very simple.
That's what the first one had to be though, because no one at the first time, unless you read all the lore beforehand, no one going into that first movie knew the lore that we were going to eventually experience.
And that's what I'm saying. It's very simple.
Mm-hmm.
The other 3 story just progressively gets way more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for the freaking kills. I want the action and the kills.
Yeah.
The series takes off because of the action and the kills.
Yes.
Nobody watched that first movie and said, "Man, I'm so excited to like learn about the lore and everything." I mean, the action was all right, but like, man, I feel like there's just a round table that I want to learn about.
Right. Yeah, no, I
mean, yeah, you come out of it with questions of like, where did the assassin world come from? But you're there for the kills.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that the movies have done such a great job of, is that you are learning as the action, like the action is the main thing, and within that we are seeing the world unfold.
It's a masterclass in action, bro. It's the best.
Perfect movies, the greatest action movies of our time. Incredible. I'm so upset we watched this.
I'm not upset we watched it. I'm just sad that it wasn't very good.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish it was better. I wish we could have. I don't even know how to fix it, man. I think a movie would have been fine.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't think this would deserved really a theatrical release. Like this would have been fine as a movie put on, not Peacock first and foremost. Mm-hmm. Not Peacock.
Right.
There's some people out there who are going like, Peacock's great. What do you mean? It's like, bro, you're 2% of the streaming world. Congratulations.
Right.
Okay, get something else, please.
I'm not using it. It won't let me in on the computer. I'm not using it again until a new show we want to review here comes out there.
Yeah, I've used Peacock twice to watch the John Wick movies and to watch the show.
Actually, that is, bro.
That's it. That's all I've ever used it for.
Can I tell you something? So I actually did use Peacock a lot. I'm a liar. I used it a lot a couple years ago, and it was when I started acting and started to have the idea that I could pursue acting. I also started getting into shape and started actually working out every day. And it was motivated by, I want to be in a position where I could do the cool stuff someday.
Cool, yeah.
And that is still the mentality I have. That's why stuff like stunts, seeing that in Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise, seeing Keanu Reeves actually do the work so that he can fight effectively in the movies is incredible to me. So in order to keep motivating me at the time, when I was on the treadmill for weeks at a time trying to build up the habit, I actually would watch John Wick through those periods, because I love the movie already, and also had the thought of, if I could do something like this someday, if I could be in a position where I could do this, that's all I want. And so I used that as motivation for weeks to help me build up the working out habit, which over 2 years, I still work out every single day because of that.
What a good motivating movie.
I know.
John Wick, that's awesome.
I had to use movies I liked and stories from actors I respect to really help shape my mindset around trying to pursue my passions.
Yeah.
I had to get a lot of stories of other people struggling through it to help me get there.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
See, always need some motivation, but the fact that John Wick was your driving, was your
so yeah, I
primary
used
motivator.
Peacock every day because of that at the time.
Yeah, okay. I guess you're part of the 2%. Congratulations.
Look, once I built up the habit, eventually I stopped, and I have not used Peacock since then. So
I think all Peacock started off with such a bad taste in everybody's mouth because they were stealing The Office.
True.
Not stealing it. I mean, they owned it.
They own it.
But they were stealing it from all of us.
Yeah.
And don't they also have Friends on there, I think?
Is Friends on? If Friends is on Peacock, I'm going to be using Peacock a lot.
I don't remember if it is or not. I just remember everybody being upset when Peacock came out because The Office was leaving Netflix. And everybody was like, why?
Why? We all half the world has a subscription to Netflix because they want to watch The Office 24/7.
Yeah, please give it back. Just give it back to us.
Were you a huge Office fan?
I liked The Office, yeah.
Okay.
I think The Office is a great show. I mean, obviously I'm there with everybody else that the last couple seasons are weird.
Yeah, they're weird.
But I love the show. I've seen it multiple times.
See, that last part you just said, I don't understand. I watched the show once, all the way through, and said, cool, I am done.
Wow.
Because I could not get past the cringe factor that the show made me feel, and I hated that.
Oh, I see. I enjoyed it. I love Steve Carell.
I love Steve Carell. He's not the problem. It's the cringe around everything. Like, thinking about the Scott's Tots episode where he's being celebrated for the tuition money that he's going to give him, and he's going to have to tell him, I can afford this one guy's books. Please don't cash the check until, please let me know when you're going to cash the check each time. It's so cringe to me. And I laugh, but it also, there's a different kind of feeling from that humor in me that I'm like, I hate this.
That's so weird that you don't like that. I feel like that'd be right up your alley.
Bro, I pushed through it because I was still in college when I finally decided to watch it. And I pushed through it because I was sick and tired of having conversations with my friends. And then someone would reference The Office. And everyone would laugh, and then they'd start talking about it. And I don't know. I'm not in on the joke because I didn't see it. That's the only reason I watched the whole show.
Yeah, The Office, I mean, I think people got a little too crazy about posting about The Office, and that's probably where some of that cringe comes from.
Mm-hmm.
I don't look into any of that. I think it's just a funny show.
Yeah.
I think it's great. But I get it, because I feel that same way about Friends, so...
Really?
I don't like Friends at all. I've seen it, and it's not funny.
See, the Friends is my Office for some reason. I love Friends.
Yeah, no, I don't think Friends is funny, but I also thought Friends was super weird growing up because the show is sped up sometimes on TV. So every time I'd watch it, I'd be like, is this the same show? Yeah, it is. Okay. They just sounded weird every single time.
Really?
Yeah, so some shows will do this on TV, that they'll speed up the show just slightly so that they can get more commercials in. And Friends is like known for doing that.
I had no idea.
Yeah, my parents loved Friends, so they always watched it when it was on TV, and then sometimes it would be sped up and sometimes it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
And it was just so strange to me of like, is this the same show? It is the same show.
See, I didn't know that because my mom loves Friends as well, and she actually had all 10 seasons in a box set.
Yeah.
And so we would, or not we, she would watch them and always had them on DVD. So I never noticed that. I never knew about the speed up thing.
Yeah, the speed up. Yeah, because my parents own the shows, their seasons as well.
Okay.
But when it would be on TV, they'd still just let it play.
Yeah.
They loved it.
Yeah.
But I always was so confused because they sound like slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ross is just slightly more high pitch.
Yeah.
And you're like, is that like this is Friends, right?
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, I don't know. I never really cared much for it. I get the same cringe factor from that you probably get from.
That's so Office. Interesting to me.
Yeah.
So the only reason.
Can we meet in the middle on Parks and Rec?
That's a good show. It's a good show. I don't think it's like incredible. There's some people who will die on that hill though.
See, Office is funny, but I think Parks and Rec is a better show. I'd recommend that before I'd recommend anything else. There's
one episode of The Office though that when I was trying to push through, and there was a point where I was like, I don't know if I can keep doing this, man. I was in like season 3 or something, but there was one episode that was the most relatable episode, and I was like, okay, I'll keep watching. And it was the episode where Michael is talking to Jan about, yeah, we're going to take the client to Chili's. Chili's is the new golf course.
Yep.
No, trust me, I read about it. Chili's is the new golf course.
It's amazing.
And the reason that episode is so relatable to me is that the semester beforehand, I just had my first ever internship. And during that, the first ever client meeting I was ever pulled into was my boss coming to my desk and was like, "Hey, we're gonna have a meeting. We're all getting lunch. Do you want to join?" I'm like, "Am I allowed to?" "Yeah, of course. Come on." And the whole meeting was my boss trying to woo this client at Chili's, and I was like, "This." So seeing that episode, I'm like, "Yeah, no, he's right. Yeah, no, Chili's is a new golf course.
It's a classy establishment.
It is.
Chili's is a great place to be.
It is.
They're slowly going downhill because they keep changing up
They keep increasing the prices
anymore. The 2 for $20 dinner was a lead. The 3 for $10. Now it's just whatever.
Now it's the 3 for $1 million.
Yeah, it's just not the same anymore. Chili's, we miss you.
Chili's, go back to your roots, but they can't because of the inflation.
I know.
That's okay. We'll just all become poor.
It's sad. It's sad when you think like, should we go to Applebee's instead?
I will not ever go to Applebee's
I said that
again.
To Krista the other day. I said that to my wife the other day after seeing. We had just gone to Chili's, and it's gone up. My chicken tenders now is like $16.
Mm-hmm.
And then I come home and I see an Applebee's commercial saying that they got the unlimited boneless wings for $10 or $12, and Dollaritas are coming back. And I was like, Applebee's, I guess, just maybe on the come up. Is this me getting older? Because I've always thought Applebee's was a place where dads don't tell their wives, like husbands don't tell their wives they're going to, so they can go drink at a bar and be sad. They say like, "Oh, I'm going out with the boys. We're gonna go bowling," and then in reality, they go to Applebee's and just have a few beers and just kind of sit there and to be alone for a little while. What? And then they come home and they're like, "Oh, it was great. Bowling was awesome."
What happened to make you think that?
See, the Applebee's I went to a lot was in Prescott.
Okay.
And that's the vibe it is because it's a small town.
Uh-huh.
It's a very small town. And anytime we'd go with our friends, we'd be there dinner time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 6-7 o'clock. Should be popping.
Yeah.
We're the only ones in there. The only other people in this Applebee's is just like 3 dudes sitting at a bar, nowhere near each other. They're all there solo. They're regulars. They just sit there. They would drink like 3 beers, watch the game, and then they'd go home. Like none of them would talk to each other, but apparently they were all regulars. It was just really fun to watch.
Wow.
Because the only person talking to them was the bartender. They'd be like, "So, like Scott, like how you been?" Like you'd hear it.
Yeah.
I would just always tune into those things and just watch. I'm like, man, this really is a sad place to be, huh?
What a view to have of Applebee's though.
Yeah, that's the Applebee's I always went to was in Prescott. So it's just sad to me.
No, dude, I can't have Applebee's. It's that last time I had it, I was like, this is so gross. I don't like this at all. It just tasted bad to me.
It's a fine establishment.
No, it's not. It's just not. It's not. I had their food, and I just remember thinking, I am sad. I am the sad person because I'm having this.
Yeah.
And it was garbage. That's what it was.
It's just for dads to go and hide out.
I guess when you become a dad, maybe your taste buds change. Maybe, and you can enjoy it more. I'm not there yet.
See, I can kind of attest to that because for me, it's not necessarily that my taste buds have changed. It's just that any hot meal is just amazing. Because I'm never eating a meal like you get the dinner and then it's like, oh, I gotta take care of the kid real quick. And it's like by the time I get to go eat food, it's already been there for like 40 minutes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, that's what having a kid is like. So it just becomes any hot meal that's put in front of you and you have the chance to eat it fresh. It's like, yes, this is insane.
Wow, really selling to our audience the joys of having a child.
Oh, it's fun. I mean, it's fun. You get used to it.
Yeah, you struggle to eat every day.
Yeah, it's not you struggle to eat. It's just that sometimes.
Well, there's no hot meal in front of you.
Anytime you can get a hot meal, you bounce to the opportunity. That's what having a newborn's like.
Okay, all right.
If you have the chance to do it, you take it, and that's why we sneak out and I go to Applebee's and I just sit at the bar and enjoy myself. And I'm telling my wife I'm at the grocery store.
And then you ate all the groceries on the way home.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The Continental, huh?
Yeah, we watched a TV show.
I think the most confusing part of the Continental for me was the child in the third episode. Was he at all in any part of that show besides that moment?
Yes. So you're talking about the kid who was running with the Chinese gang, right?
Yeah. He came downstairs and he started just like messing with things.
So he was like the runner. He was the one who was throwing the bricks through the dojo window. So he was always a nuisance, and it was always a threat from the gang, but it was the kid doing it each time.
Gotcha. Okay, now it makes sense.
And that's what there was a scene. There was a scene where the dojo owner, the girl, like actually chases him down and ends up at the place where like the leader of that gang is.
Yeah.
And then they have a conversation.
That could have been it, because they kind of like skip around. Like there's not really like a good transition. You'll just be like in the middle of a scene, and then all of a sudden we're in another storyline.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, okay, here we are. The kid is playing with the bomb.
Yep.
Cool.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah, like we're in the middle of this intense fight at the Continental, and then it's just like, oh, the kid, like he's just in the van.
Yep.
Can you take him for a little bit? Just keep him in here. We'll protect him. Now we go back to this intense fight, and then we've caught up to the intense fight. And now, oh no, I'm about to die. I look up. Oh, the kid's in the crawl space.
Oh, and he stole my gun, and he's dropping it to me.
Drops it down, and they shoot. It's like, oh, okay.
Oh, what luck?
I thought the kid was supposed to stay in the van, but well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, bro, they're all criminals. They're all gonna get out, and they're gonna do whatever. But
that was random.
It was random.
That was very random. Like usually you show if the kid's gonna sneak off and go help. Usually you kind of just show that for like a quick second.
Yeah.
But no, he just came and they locked him in the van, and then 10 minutes later in the episode, he's just in the air ducts, and he just goes, "Take the gun."
Yep.
Item, speak to me. And then he's gone. Yeah. And you're like, oh, all right, thanks, kid.
All right, thank you, pal. Take care.
Yep. See you later. Never see him again. Thank you, Waco. I think that was his name, Waco. I looked it up because I was like, is that baby John Wick? Is that what they're trying to imply here?
He's baby John Wick.
Like, who is this kid? Why is he just all of a sudden here? I had to look it up. I said, who is the kid in the Continental?
Yeah. Oh man. You know what was very irritating about the last episode though, which is the only episode we recommended, was that I think like 4 or 5 times the same scenario happened where someone, like justifiably so, these people are all so enraged about the other people, and they're going, as soon as they find them and have a moment, they're gonna shoot them. That's the goal. And multiple times this happened where they're finally there, the person who wants to kill someone else is in control, has the gun pointed, and then is like, and now we're gonna talk. Well, why? Kill him. Do it.
Yeah.
And then something happens and I can't kill him now.
And that's most action movies. But John Wick, that's what I've always loved about it, is John Wick just kind of cuts that out.
Yeah.
They never do like, I'm going to give you my evil monologue. It's just we kill each other. And if there is an evil monologue, it's justified in the sense that like we have a gentleman's agreement to hear each other out on this.
Yes.
It's like the only reason they ever do that is out of respect. That makes sense in the lore.
Mm-hmm.
In this one, it was just, I'm going to kill you now.
Yep.
Now I want to do it. It's like, why? Just do it.
I think there was a moment.
She's lighting him on, when she's like pouring lighter fluid on him.
And
she's about to light him on fire. It's like, dude, if you want revenge, just do it. Just take it.
Go ahead. Go ahead. This is the moment. Go ahead and do it. That was one. There was another where the main villain, whose name is escaping me at the minute, Cormac. Had Winston ready to kill, didn't do it. Sharon was ready to kill Cormac, didn't do it. Yen, I think was her name, had both of the twin assassins ready to kill.
She was suicide bombing him.
In order to avenge Frankie, her husband. Doesn't do it.
And
of course, everything goes bad. Everything goes bad each time. And it's like, I get that that's the structure, but bro, that's not, this is... Don't give him the opportunity at all. Then
I thought it was weird that guy was stopping her from doing it.
Yeah,
I mean he stopped her because he wanted her to not kill herself.
Yeah, she was planning to bomb.
Why not just shoot him right there?
Yeah, you have the Uzi there.
Just shoot him. Why not just be like, hey, like I'll do it. I got it. Boom, just blast him in the face.
The shotgun too. Just do it. The twins were extremely dangerous the entire show. Get rid of them.
But were they? Because they only met them in that hotel. They
killed Frankie. They caused the whole debacle in episode 1.
Did they know that it was them? Because they were like buildings away.
Somehow they knew. That is why Yen's entire storyline was about finding them. That's why
they did know that they were there, but like it's weird because they were so far. They were far enough away that the brother had to be a spotter.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too.
Yeah, like that's distance to have a spotter. You're definitely out of sight.
Yeah.
Or at least far enough to like not make out what you're seeing. So they got some crazy eyesight to be able to tell that those two are the ones that killed him.
Because Yen was also up in a helicopter when it happened, but somehow found out that it was the twins who did it. Don't know how, but they did establish that she did know who killed Frankie somehow, which is why that was her emotional moment in the show, was that she was also going to kill herself in order to kill them, but then didn't.
Yeah, I've seen enough war movies to know that the sniper spotter, you don't have that unless you're a decent distance away. Mm-hmm. Like that's like a tag team thing in tactics. So I don't know. It was weird. Yeah, that was weird to me that they knew somehow. I mean, maybe I missed it. I could have definitely missed it because the show I was so bored.
We were from our discussions. It sounds like we both were tuning out a bit, a little bit.
Terrible thing to say as critics, but whatever. We're not really critics. Look, if you think we're critics,
no, we're bros. I said it earlier. We're trying to just get together to have a good time, and maybe I didn't because we had a technical issue at the beginning of the episode. So maybe I didn't say that on this take, but that's possible. We're just trying to hang out, and then not getting to hang out this week was a drag.
Yeah, that was a strange show. I mean, there were moments I was into. I liked some of the kills. Mm-hmm. When they did eventually blow up the other twin, that was hype.
Yep, that was a good moment.
Blew up into a bunch of chunks. That moment solidified my thought on the whole show, though, that it felt like I was watching The Boys, as if like the directors of The Boys met up with the directors of John Wick and then made a show.
Okay.
It gave me The Boys vibes. Like the crew itself was kind of set up in the same way as The Boys, where you know, we got our two main characters and then the rest of the gang that came in here and there. Nobody really likes each other, but they have to work together. Mm-hmm. Like we weren't established before this, but we all have one common goal. Yeah. And that's to get under this dude, the Cormac guy. Yeah. And after this, we'll all go our separate ways. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with the boys. It's like they get together and none of them really like each other. Their only goal is to expose the heroes for what they are. Yeah. And then we go about our ways. Yeah. You know what? We have our one chick who is married to somebody in here that doesn't know any English. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the boys. We have our one girl who knows no English but is into one of the people here. Mm-hmm. Some of the fights, I got crazy fists that in 3 punches I've blown your head up. Yep. There was a couple moments like that. Yeah. The explosion and some of the deaths felt just as gruesome as the boys. Yeah. I don't know. It just gave me the same vibes.
Yeah, I can see that.
I got some of those vibes from it. It felt more like the boys than it did a John Wick universe.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely see that now. There were a lot of similarities here.
Yeah, the only thing that brought it back to John Wick, obviously, besides it being in the same world, is them using a lot of like mixed martial arts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is fun to watch too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and even in The Boys, the girl who knows no English wants to kill herself to get revenge on the people who took her family from her.
Yeah.
Same thing in this one. They did the same exact
Kind of the same story.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we did it.
Man, I'm just saying, man. It's a lot of similarities.
Bro, I would rewatch The Boys, though. I've actually been thinking about rewatching The Boys.
You should. They just came out with the spin-off show.
I did see that. I might watch that.
Yeah, I thought about checking it out, but we'll see if I can.
Huge recommendation is The Boys. Check that out. Love that show.
Watch the Continental, just watch The Boys.
Yeah, watch it. That's much more of an investment, though.
No,
3 full
more
seasons.
satisfied.
Yeah, it is more satisfying, though. But yeah, we did it. We watched the show. We reviewed it. Do you want to do banana?
Yeah, we can plug it in the banana meter.
Yeah, let's do it.
Boys, come on in. Yes, boys.
Oh my god! Where did you get those?
They just started shooting banana guns.
Okay,
So,
all right. It's banana guns, so that's
wow,
fine.
Look at them. They're shooting. That's gonna leave a mess on your ceiling.
Oh my gosh, it's just bananas galore right now.
Woo! They
Guys.
must have learned that from John Wick.
They must have, yeah. Okay, all right, it's calm down. Just
So unfortunate the minions.
it's
don't
a
wanna
shame
come
you
on the
couldn't
screen.
see any of
'Cause
this.
It's crazy what they're doing.
Yeah, they're just slapping each other now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
All right, yeah,
I'm
just
back. Oh wow.
Oh.
That one was a good.
yeah, he does. All right, yeah, just okay. Come on,
Yeah,
just
leave the
just
banana
bring
meter
bring the
there.
banana
Just
meter.
put it there.
Get back in the closet, please.
Good boys.
Goodbye. All right,
You want to start? Or you want me to start?
I can start.
This makes sense because you're really the John Wick like enthusiast. It changed you.
I am. I really do think that I do believe that John Wick movies are the best action movies of our time, comparably to everything else modern right now. At least for the stuff that's starting from like the 2010s.
Yeah, no,
They're
it's
incredible.
for sure. I mean, it's proven itself.
Yeah. So when you mentioned the Continental to me, I was like, oh, dope. I'm excited. I am thoroughly disappointed with it. I actually enjoyed Winston, though. I enjoyed him as a character and seeing him come into his own in this criminal world. Like, where the show ended, I actually really liked. And the more I think about it, we actually saw his arc. He's the only character we had a full arc on, it felt like. And that, to me, carried the show, even though we didn't get the action. I'm here for the action. I'm here for that. But you are here to answer the question of how did he get the hotel? And we got that answer. And the last episode was very fun. If I could do it again, I'd probably just watch the last episode each time. Yeah. So for me, I think I'm gonna give it a 45. That it's not worth seeing unless you want to answer those questions for you, like you care about. It's the same thing with Marvel shows right now too. Anything with a universe where they're trying to spin off into shows, they seem to only matter if you actually care to actually learn the lore. That's what the shows seem to be for.
Yeah, if you only care about that one specific character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'd be disappointed if you don't really care much about Winston or his backstory, then this show will serve nothing for you.
Then you shouldn't watch it.
Yeah,
if you
it's
don't
not
care
gonna serve
about
a purpose.
If you don't care about that part of the universe, then don't learn it. It will be a shame though if down the road in another John Wick movie or in this ballerina movie, if they make it that the Continental limited series is essential knowledge down the road. That would be a shame because I don't think that the spin-off shows should be doing that.
I think Ballerina, I still have faith in it that it'll be good because that is more so John Wick's backstory, specifically like where he comes from.
Yes.
And I think that will be way more interesting to watch than Winston.
Yeah.
Because Winston's backstory, I think, is just for people like you and me who, really more so even for you, who really love the show or who really love the movies.
Yeah.
I'm here because I want to see John Wick get into some fights.
Yeah.
I would love, the only other backstory I want to know about personally is the high table. Everybody else, it's whatever to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think somebody like our buddy Colton, who has been on the podcast for those
the
episodes,
expert.
I don't think he would really care much for the show either, just because it's backstory to just Winston. It's like, yeah, but I want to watch the show for I want to watch movies for the movies.
The majority of people watching the John Wick movies, myself included, are there for the action. That's what the selling point is for it. You gotta be like super into it to want to learn more about the lore on it.
Yeah.
If especially if it is not action based, which the show was not.
Yeah. For me, I think the show, some action was really good and some felt very fake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there were certain moments when they were shooting their guns that just felt like we were just legit just going like this.
Uh-huh.
It didn't feel very well coordinated at times. And other times when they were doing more of the hand-to-hand combat, it was very fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
The third episode very much carries the show. It's weird to complain about the acting in an action show or movie because you're not really there for the acting, right? Like, you're there for the action. You want to be just enthralled in how they're portraying.
Yeah.
The problem is this show is very story-driven.
Yeah.
And very much...
So you're required to look at the acting.
Yeah, you're required to watch the acting because it's 30% action, 40% action.
Yeah.
So when you're giving me a lot of new characters, a lot of backstory and stuff like that, acting's got to be at least decent. And I think they missed by a lot on some of the acting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Mel Gibson probably had some of the best and worst moments
in
the show. Like, there are moments where he's acting, you know, he's talking to the guy and he forces him to jump off of the bridge or the balcony, and you're like, yeah. And then he starts saying really, really corny lines, and you're like, all right, this is a really out of character here.
Yeah, let's finish this up.
This is Mel Gibson, not Cormac. If that's what it felt like. It felt like Mel Gibson really wanted those lines to be in there, not Cormac.
Yeah.
So very weird. All the other acting was all right. Yeah, I think for me, I'm gonna land this probably at like a 55. It's a fine show. Like, the third episode really carries.
Yeah.
And that's only because the action is all in the third episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all of the background you need for Winston is all in the third episode.
Yeah.
Like, everything else in the first two is just whatever.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I probably could have just watched the third episode and known exactly what was happening and gotten satisfied by that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, maybe if you watch the show with the perspective of it being its own show and not trying to be like John Wick, maybe it's good, but that's not the purpose of it. It should be like John Wick.
I think it's knowing what what we're comparing to, because it is the same universe of John Wick. Going from the only major line being said is "be seeing you" or "yeah," to now we're having like a bunch of acting in front of us. That's a huge difference between these. So it felt like it was a huge genre shift that I was not aware we were going to have for the show. So,
yeah, interesting. Maybe the timing of it coming out too is kind of strange. Maybe it should have come out after episode 3 of John Wick.
Probably.
Instead of giving us John Wick 4, which is an absolute masterpiece, to then go to this.
Yeah.
Like, if we watched this and then John Wick 4 was coming out soon, I'd be like, bro, that's cool.
Yeah, it is kind of weird to start doing the spin-offs when there's not another John Wick announced right now.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Like, I know.
I'm pretty sure there's no, but there's not like, I think it would have been.
Haters are going to say he's dead.
We spoke briefly about the marketing, right? Like, the marketing strat for this should have been what you just said. John Wick 3 comes out. In preparation for John Wick 4, we release the Continental. People are hyped for that. Then they're hyped for John Wick. Because watching this did make me be like, I might go rewatch the John Wick movies.
That's how I felt about all the Marvel shows coming out, was we finished Endgame, and then we started releasing all the shows. And it was like, bro, but I wrapped up my Marvel arc. I'm good.
Yeah, I don't
really
need
care anymore.
I don't need that anymore.
Even when they were like, oh, we got the Black Widow movie coming out, I was like, she died.
It's over. It's over.
I could care less about the movie. I mean, what are we?
I don't need her. Yeah. I don't need her lore anymore. She's gone.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm satisfied. I am full.
You know what? You chose to go almost a decade of just not talking about her for some reason, and then suddenly decided you wanted a movie about her. I'm done.
Yeah.
I That ship has sailed.
Look, I have finished my dinner, and I will not take another. Thank you, though.
No, thank you. Yeah.
No dessert.
Yep. Be seeing you. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we did it. We watched this show. Here.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening and watching Straight Dude Date Night. We do hope you enjoy, as always. If you haven't already, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, any of that stuff. Tell a friend about the show. And follow us on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all that stuff. Leave us
it's in the description. It's down there.
Yeah, if you still listen to our audio version and you haven't already, be sure to leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That would be great too. And yeah, I think that's it.
Thanks, everybody. Sorry we didn't watch a movie.
Sorry we didn't like the show we decided to watch too.
We'll be back next week, I guess. Next week's going to be...
Be ready for next week.
There's a challenge for next week that I'm going to end up having to do.
Next week's going to be great.
That's going to be an interesting... I'll be here, but I won't be here.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. And with that, be seeing you.